What is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing, a first impressions, and an on-feet look at the Allbirds Tree Dasher 2. So I was a fan of the original Allbirds Tree Dasher. Granted, there was a few things that I would change about that model. However, as like a daily driver and more for a casual running, I liked that shoe. So I was super curious to see how the Allbirds Tree Dasher 2 did in comparison. So that being said, everything in this video is going to be timestamped, so jump around accordingly, get the information you need and get out. But let's go ahead and do the unboxing section of this video. So something that's really cool is that if you go in store to actually pick up these shoes, instead of using bags, they give you an extra shoestring and use that as your bag. I thought that was really cool because she was like, "Oh, do you want a bag?" And I was like, "Yes, I would love a bag." And she goes, "Cool, let me give you a shoelace." Boom, ties this on. And then I carried out my shoes like this, which I think is really neat. Plus that way you too also get two different shoelaces. So opening up this box, we have tread lighter on the inside here, and then we have some notes down here on the box and then on the inside talking about Allbirds' approach to being much more sustainable with their gear and for the planet in regard to the materials they are using. So we have two different shoelaces. Once again, we have the shoelace that comes tied as the box, and so we have, boom, this orange shoelace down here, or this like brown orange shoelace, and then I went with the brown colorway. So instead of going with the bright orange colorway or like the black colorway, I went with the brown because with my original Allbirds Tree Dasher, I like to wear them so much on a daily wear basis, so like running errands, walking the dogs and whatnot. I wanted a colorway that could look better with casual stuff. Plus, if I want to wear these like to a WeWork and go work one day, I can rock these, and they look pretty good in my opinion, just from like a first glance. So that being said, right out of the box, just feeling the shoe, holding it for the first time, a couple of things that I noticed. Number one, the outsole has a reworked tread patterning. So up here on the forefoot and on the heel, we have a lug patterning, which I really like because in the original Allbirds Tree Dasher, we had a full smooth outsole, which was fine if you were running on like dry surfaces, but if you ever hit like a wet spot outside, you would slide a little bit because the tread patterning didn't give you a lot of grip. So I like seeing this reworked outsole tread because it's going to give you a wider range of surfaces that you can use this model on. Another thing that I noticed right away is that the shoe feels lighter. Now, how much lighter, we'll see. In the post-workout breakdown, I'll weigh the first Allbirds Tree Dasher with this one, and we'll see what the actual weights are and how much lighter it is. But as a whole, it does feel lighter. It looks like they brought in some of the heel material back here and even tweaked the forefoot a little bit because it feels a little bit less dense than the first model. Another thing that I'm noticing is that the boot is reworked. So in the original Allbirds Tree Dasher, this is one of my gripes with this model. It cut the heck out of your heel when breaking these in, or at least for some runners and lifters it did. So you can see like I literally still have blood stains here. Like when I broke this shoe in, I went to war. So I wore no-show socks for my first few wears, and like I still have blood stains on this model, which like they don't really come out. Like I've tried to spot clean them and they're still there. So I want to know how this heel counter and heel does in comparison to the original Allbirds Tree Dasher, because if you thought that was a problem, you were not alone, and I want to make sure that this doesn't cut up my foot. So when I do my first session today, I'm going to wear no-show socks on purpose just to see if I get the same rub. Hopefully I don't get blisters, but it's a risk I'm willing to take for y'all. So another thing that I'm noticing, which I alluded to earlier when we discussed weight, is that the heel is slightly reworked as well. The shape looks a little bit different. It doesn't look as blocky. Granted, it still does kind of have this like blockier finish and build, but it doesn't seem like it's as clunky as the original Allbirds Tree Dasher. So as a whole, it looks like Allbirds tweaked all the things that I think others might have called out in that original model, aka the weight, the heel counter, and how blocky the heel felt. So I'm gonna go test these out, see how they do. I have an active recovery day today, so I'm gonna be hitting a 5K run. It's snowing outside here in Denver, so I will be on a treadmill, and then I have some sled work and some lighter bodyweight movements. So I'm gonna see how these also do just for lighter workouts, bodyweight workouts, if you wanna wear these to run and then also do that style of training. I'll hopefully have some insights there for you. I will have a full review on these once I get more mileage in, but that being said, let's go train, and I'll see you guys for the post-workout breakdown. Welcome to the post-workout breakdown. So I do need to get more training sessions in this model before I make a full review, so stay tuned for that. But just based off of one workout and my first impressions in the shoe, I have 4 thoughts about this model. Number 1, I do think some folks will notice the weight of the shoe in regard to it feeling lighter. And I think this is going to be most apparent for longer distance runs and longer training sessions. So for the Allbirds Tree Dasher in my size 10 model, we have a weight of 11.35 ounces, and then in the Allbirds Tree Dasher 2, we have a weight of 10.9 ounces. That's not the biggest difference, I know, but I think for longer distance runs and for longer training sessions, that will add up, and I think that most folks will find that this is a little bit lighter. Honestly, out of the box, it felt lighter to me, even though it is only kind of marginally lighter than the Allbirds Tree Dasher. The second thing I noticed right away was the outsole traction. So I noticed this most on the treadmill and the turf I was training on. So whether I was pushing or pulling the sled, this lug patterning gave me a ton of traction, and I really like that because it's going to increase the range and the scope in which you can use this shoe and have adequate traction. So if you want to train outdoors on like light gravel, or if you're running on concrete that might be a little bit slippery, so that's if it's humid or if it's a little bit damp, I think you're going to have more traction in this model compared to the Allbirds Tree Dasher, which had this flat outsole construction. So I like the outsole tread patterning and the reworked nature of the lugs on the heel and the forefoot in the shoe, and we even have some light lugs here throughout the midfoot. The third thing to note is that the heel counter and the heel did not tear up my Achilles in this model. Now, granted, I need to get more training sessions in to really test this and make sure that it doesn't tear up my heel, but just based off of 1.5K in this model and with a workout that was a little bit lighter in nature, we didn't have any friction, and that's because in the Allbirds Tree Dasher 1, this upper boot cut in a little bit more so it angles in, which produces a lot of friction. In this model, we have a slightly thicker pad that comes up a little bit higher in the heel, and this construction more so moves vertically versus like coming in and like creating a little bit of friction. So I like that change a lot, and I think Allbirds was listening to the consumer when they made this tweak, because overall, having bloodstains on your shoes that are like literally years old, not a good look. So I like that a lot. But again, I want to get more sessions in before I definitively say like these aren't going to cut up your heel nearly as much, or if it's like for everybody. So stay tuned for that. The fourth thing to note about this model is that I did like the heel construction. So it could still be, I think, reduced a little bit and reconstructed, but it does feel a lot less clunky compared to the first Allbirds Tree Dasher, and I think it will work for a wider range of strides. So if you do have a little bit of heel stride, I think this model will actually be a little bit better at being a bit more forgiving over a longer period of time versus the first Allbirds Tree Dasher, because it doesn't feel as heavy, it doesn't feel like it's beating you up, and it has a sole construction that feeds a little bit better into different strides. Now, when it comes to sizing and fit in the shoe, I think you should be safe going true to size. The length fits pretty true in this model, and the width of the foot is like what I would call like more of like a neutral width, so you have like a regular fit in this model, and I didn't feel like I needed to size up or down. I had ample room in the toe box, but also not too much to where I was swimming, so I think most folks should be safe going true to size in this model. If you have any questions on the Allbirds Tree Dasher 2 or how they perform, hit me in the comments below and I will answer whatever you have. Stay tuned for a full review that should come out in the next couple of weeks. I want to put more training sessions into this model and get more mileage in this shoe before I make a review calling out all the pros, cons, etc. and how it performs across the board. So stay tuned. But as always, guys, if you have questions, hit me in the comments below, reach out to me personally, and as always, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.